This is the western entrance to Sebastia, and these towers are part of a 4-kilometer wall that used to protect it during the Roman era. Now, Israeli occupation authorities have confiscated the area here along with a bit more than half of all of Sebastia. The local authorities tell us the Israeli army is conducting illegal archaeological digs here, and the Israeli settlers have left their graffiti on the walls. Armed settlers like these two we encountered roam free in one of the occupied West Bank's prime tourist destinations and take part in raids of Sebastia with the Israeli army like this one, which interrupted a diplomatic tour that came ahead of Palestine's bid to have Sebastia listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Those raids often involve assaults on residents. Sebastia was founded more than 2,700 years ago and is home to many sites, including the burial shrine of St. John the Baptist. Today, that history is the pretext for a land grab. Israel has allocated $20 million for illegal settlement expansion and archaeological excavation in Sebastia. Evidence the Israeli army has already been carrying out unlawful excavations here is hard to miss, including at the remains of the Roman amphitheater. And Palestinian authorities have documented their theft of Sebastia's artifacts. Officials here are trying to preserve Sebastia's history, keeping some of the valuable artifacts in the town's museum. But they say a lot more is needed to protect it for future generations. For the mayor, getting Sebastia listed as a heritage site is part of a last-ditch attempt to protect it from Israeli takeover.
When all our efforts failed to stop Israel's assault against Sebastia and its history and heritage, we resorted to the World Heritage Committee and UNESCO. They have a mandate to protect World Heritage.
As the cool breeze of sunset arrives, Sebastia's main square comes to life. Children play next to the remains of the first-century basilica while parents watch. As the mayor told me, these are not dead stones. They are our beating hearts. Nour, Odeh, Jazeera, Sebastia, Palestine.
Atef Abu Seif is the former Palestinian Minister of Culture. To talk about this in more detail, he's joining us from Milan. Welcome to the programme. So, UNESCO's World Heritage Committee is convening in South Korea. It started a couple of hours ago. The Palestinian Authority has put forward as a matter of extreme urgency their demands, of course, to protect Sebastia, whatever the immediate outcome of the morning session of UNESCO in South Korea. How critical is this specific moment? If UNESCO grants this status, does it actually provide a legal shield, or is it merely a symbolic move?
First, it's a Palestinian right, because these places, Israel tries to portray them as contested places, as if they don't belong to the Palestinians, as if there is no Palestinians there, as if they're empty places. And as the report mentioned, Israel is using history to grab more of the Palestinian territories. And this is unfortunately is happening since 1948 until now. And it happened all the time. And while the world was watching Israel doing this, destroying cultural antiquities or archaeological sites, be it in West Bank and Gaza, Sebastia is only one place among other places where the Israeli authorities is using these archaeological sites to grab the Palestinian territories and to kick the Palestinians out of their country. This is first. This is a Palestinian right, and it's very important when the Palestinians are fighting to keep on their land, to shed light and to highlight the attacks that Israel is doing against these places, and apparently listing Sebastia and other places like Birak Suleiman, like before that it was Batir, Hebron, Jericho, all cities, etc. Inscribing these places is part of protecting them, because it's true that these places are Palestinians, but they are part of the memory of the universe.
Well, let me specifically ask you about that, because I mean, you've been down this road before. You've just said it. Palestine successfully inscribed other landmarks under UNESCO's protected status. Hebron's old town, Batir, you mentioned it. Ancient Jericho, mentioned in the Old Testament, the wars of. I mean, yet the international status did not stop the Israeli military or settler groups from sealing off areas, demolishing adjacent structures or altering the landscape. If the UN's highest cultural designation has failed to deter Israel in the past, why will it make a difference this time?
Yeah, it makes a lot of difference. At least this doesn't go without attention. And it's we realize that international law cannot protect the Palestinians. Unfortunately, it failed to do so since the Nakba until now. But at the end, we still believe that we have to do our part of on this. Like, and registering Sebastia, like you raised the case and you're saying the international community has to pay attention to these sites and has to do whatever possible, at least not to accept what Israel is doing. And this happened as well. The failure of the international community is very common, as you may notice in Gaza, for example, where we have sites like Saint Hilarion and the Amphibian Seaport, Gaza, which were listed in the on the UNESCO list under urgent protection, but they were unfortunately partially damaged during the current war. So it's very important for the Palestinian that the world share with us our concern about our history and our memory, which is, again, it's not our own history alone. We're very proud of our own history, but it's the history of the universe. It's the memory of the universe. This place, Sebastia, is part of a long history of existence of different civilizations among the Romans, as you said.
Minister, you raised a really important point in everything you've said so far. If international law fails to protect human lives in Gaza, and UNESCO fails to protect the memories and relics of Palestine's past, how do the Palestinian people, how do they protect their heritage from being permanently erased?
Yeah, actually, let's remember that one of the main wars that the Zionist movement is launching against the Palestinian people since decades is the word of narrative and memory. And this is very very evident in the last I would say 100 years, where history and archaeological sites and monuments and buildings of historical and religious importance are damaged or attacked, and so for the Palestinians, we realize that part of defending our existence is defending our memory, is defending our narrative, is defending our places, and of course we are the weak side on this, unfortunately, because the international community is incapable of doing anything to Israel, unfortunately. And as I told you, Israel destroyed 12 museums in the war in Gaza. 63 archaeological sites. Part of them are inscribed in the UNESCO list, of either tentative list or list under urgent protection. And libraries, bookstores, universities, etc.
Understood.
Cemeteries like the Roman cemetery, old cemetery in Jabal, and the international, as you said, the international community and the international law failed to protect the Palestinians from the genocide. UNESCO failed to protect the Palestinian historical and archaeological sites from the cultural genocides, which is taking place in parallel in
Minister,
Gaza. However,
I'm afraid
we have to fight to break it.
I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there, but we absolutely hear you. This is, as you say, these latest efforts at UNESCO about preserving both memory and history. Atef Abu Seif.
Cry of the Palestinian.
Thank you very much. Atef Abu Seif, former Palestinian Minister of Culture, joining us there from Milan.